Hello and welcome to the mat. Today, I am going to walk you through what's essentially some really subtle and isolated hip activations. These are a great thing to go through if you are getting pain in your outer hips, especially kind of like that achy nerve pain, or if you're noticing muscle strain throughout your hip region. That could be anything from the outer hip all the way wrapped around into the hip flexors. Now, a little bit of preamble here is that often when you are experiencing that ache or pain, it's because something is having to step in and compensate for something else that's not firing, not engaging. And it might be of service to work with a professional, a physical therapist, something like that, to figure out if there are certain muscles that are not firing. However, this can be a nice little check to do just to notice an inventory and to get really some of those glute muscles in specific firing off so that they can support you in all of your movements. So let's go ahead and start. We are going to start by lying down. And just as a little bit of a warm up, let's go ahead and lift legs into the air, point and flex your toes, circle out your ankles. You might even kind of bend and straighten into your legs any amount. Keep in mind here, the goal isn't to find absolute end range of motion or to find the most intense sensation. We're just kind of exploring. Right here, something I like to do is flex my feet up toward the ceiling, or maybe it's more toward the wall, whatever your hamstring depth allows, and then kind of rotate your legs from one side to the other, letting that muscle hug in toward bone can be a nice way to ease into some things. And then from here, we're going to plant feet, knees towards ceiling, and lower those knees to the right. You can either prop your head up with your hand or extend your arm and use it as a pillow. From here, lift your ankles up off of the mat, and then we're going to clamshell this top leg up and down. And I want you to really be intentional about it, letting the whole movement be part of the experience rather than just going to the end and the beginning. So kind of almost think of your leg moving through molasses or something so that every part of that open and close is something you're present for, is something that your leg is engaging in. And you might notice at the top of this, when this is most lifted, that you have some of that activation in your glute, specifically glute med here, likes to show up. And you might continue doing this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and relax your legs down. Take a moment maybe to circle your top leg. Just notice how it feels going one way and then the other. If you're like, wow, I'm really noticing, really aware of that glute, then that's some good information that maybe that glute isn't always firing, that it's, feeling this pretty intensely right now. And then from here, we're going to kick that top leg out. So keeping it at the same angle, that's straightening it out, and then rotate that toe to point down toward the ground. Now from here, I like to brace my left hand in front of me. We're going to lift and lower, lift and lower. Same thing, try to smooth out the motion. Let every part of the motion be intentional. Notice at the top point of this motion, where do you feel it? Might be getting back more into glute max. Keep it smooth, and you might continue for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and soften that leg down. Maybe massage around the area, or again, circle out the leg one way and the other. And then from here, our final one on this side for now is going to be to extend that leg straight back. You can stay on your side, but I really like to roll and kind of bring my chest down toward the mat, have maybe elbows, forearms for support here. Another option is to have a bolster under your chest, but toe is still pointed down on that foot. So we have this really adductive um, form happening here and that kind of internal rotation at play. And then again, lift and lower, lift and lower. Find your rhythm here. Smooth it out. Notice if there are places you're rushing through. Notice where you feel this. Continue for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and soften that leg down. Again, find any movement. And then from here, we're going to go to the second side. So you can just roll over. In order for me to stay speaking to the screen, I'm going to do a flip on the mat. And we'll start with both legs bent, heels up, clamshelling this top leg. Nice and smooth. Notice if it feels similar or different to the last side. We're not always perfectly symmetrical beings. You might continue for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and soften down. Maybe you do those circles one way and the other. Maybe you massage it out in any way. And when you're ready, kick that leg straight and then internally rotate toe toward the mat. Maybe your right hand braces on the mat and find those lifts here. Smooth it out. Notice where you feel it. Use your breath here. You might go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in. Maybe circle. And then the last one on this side, extending your legs straight back, internal rotation, and then bringing your chest square to the mat. Pop yourself up on your elbows, and we'll lift from here. Smooth it out. Notice where you feel it. And you might continue for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And any movement that you might find supportive. You can eventually roll to your back and then bring your weight up into a seated form. Let's bring feet a little bit wider than hips. Windshield wiper side to side. And then from here, feet staying wider than hips, you can lift yourself up. We're gonna do just a few squats, but adding in some glute activation as we go. So go ahead and find your full depth of your squat, wherever that is. If hips are below knees or above, and then round forward. Think of the backside of your body, really softening, rounding here. Rock your weight into your heels of your feet. Maybe you even lift and wiggle your toes. And then create a proud chest and press into your feet to stand. But once you get there, squeeze your glutes and slightly arc through your back while your hands reach out at kind of a capital A. All right, we're going to do that again. So come down into your squat. Rock your weight back to your heels, maybe round. Nice proud chest. Come on up. Squeeze your glutes. Think of squeezing shoulders together, arcing through your back. All right, we're going to do that, but this time we're going to bring our arms out to a T. So rounded, proud chest, arms to a T, glute squeeze, arch through your back. And again. So now you might be able to do it one per breath. Inhaling to lift. Exhale, come down. This time arms are going to come up at a Y. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Arms to a Y again. Exhale, lower down to your squat. This time we're going to pause here with your hips low. Maybe you open your arms one direction and then the other. Come back to center. Rock your weight to your heels. Really press into your feet. Come up to stand and take a nice stretch. But as you're stretching, think of muscles hugging in toward bones. Wiggle it out any amount. And then you might take a moment to just notice through your body how things feel. If there are certain movements you typically do where you're noticing that hip pain, maybe scan through, see if this has affected that at all. And then one final thing that you can keep in mind, just moving through your day, is that if you start to notice any of that pain emerge, it might be nice to do some of that activation. So for example, a lot of people feel that achiness when they're lying down in bed or something, and they often think, oh, I should stretch, and that doesn't actually do anything with that ache or pain. And so perhaps lying in bed, you go back to some of those movements, kick your sheets off or get above them and do some of those clamshells or those leg lifts and lowers and just see how that impacts it for you. As always, please feel free to comment with any questions or to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to answer anything that you might have. Thank you.